and welcome to the Taft City Council meeting for December 17th, 2013. As always, tonight we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Council Member Ron Waldrop. And who's doing the invocation tonight? Oh, okay. And I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
Howard Zello.
Howard, you're going to be leading us in an invocation right after the flag salute. Please rise.
Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Father in heaven, I thank you so much for the opportunity that you've granted us to be here as leaders of this community. I pray that you will bless this meeting, that you will bless the decisions that are made, so that they may be for the glory and honor of thy sacred name. We pray in the name of Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Waldrop. Mr. Tello, thank you. May we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Linder?
I'm sorry?
Mayor Linder?
Here.
Councilmember Cryer?
Here.
Councilmember Miller?
Here.
Councilmember Knorr? Absent. Councilmember Waldrop?
Here.
Thank you very much. First item on the agenda tonight is a presentation of the Downtown Economic Development by Hadley Pittman. And she's here tonight. Before you start, I just know that I've heard a lot of positive comments about your presentation, and I had asked that maybe we arrange it for the council meeting tonight. So we're honored to have you here tonight, and I'll just turn the podium over to you and tell us what we need to do.
Thank you.
Well, great, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate it very much. And esteemed council members, we're very pleased to be here. My name is David Lane. I'm a teacher over at Taft College. Hadley is one of my students, and of many subjects that I teach at the college, I do economics. And one of the challenges that I always put to my students in all of my classes, actually, is for them to be able to go out and wrangle with a problem and try to come up with some solutions. And Hadley's presentation is exactly fulfilling one of those things. So I'm going to let her do most of the storytelling so you can see that. So here is Hadley.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay. Hi. Like Dr. Lane said, my name is Hadley Pittman. I'm currently a sophomore at Taft College. I'll be graduating this May with my associates in business administration. Thank you. This was for a summer econ class I took, microeconomics, and I did it on the economic development of Taft's downtown revitalization. Yes. And this is kind of what I came up with.
I check your post.
No problem. Hadley, feel free to pull that mic down because I don't know if you were made aware or not, but you are going to be on TV.
Okay.
This is recorded, and I don't want to put more pressure on you, but I thought it was important enough that the public that watches this channel will I think enjoy your presentation. So, thank you.
Whenever I first started the research for this project, I looked into some of the other downtowns that are well-known or popular, not just in California, but all over the nation. Some of the main characteristics I came up with for this were that there are always people present of all ages, families, adults, restaurants, businesses, shops, housing, entertainment, and generally a pleasant environment. With these characteristics in mind, I started to analyze Taft's downtown to see what it was lacking, missing, or if it already had some of these characteristics. Now, Taft's downtown versus some of the other downtowns, I noticed that there are gutters of trash, sidewalks covered with drinks, bubble gum, and it's missing the bustle and traffic of locals. It's a relatively empty place at times. Here are pictures. I took these in early November on a Saturday. These are gutters of trash that can be found, sidewalks filled with drinks and bubble gum. And as you can see, it's a pretty empty place. This was on a Saturday at about 2 p.m.
Well, can you go back? Isn't that an alley?
Yes, this is the one that's
Not
closest.
too many people hang out in the alley, though.
Yes. This is closest to the parking lot. This is one of the places that you'll, some of the shops, this is how you get into, I know one of the gyms on Center Street, one of the shops, and this was just one of the storefronts. Taft's downtown versus other downtowns. These are pictures I have found of other downtowns. As you can see, the storefronts are glowing. There's mixtures of different businesses and homes, and it's usually filled with teens and families. Can something be done? Now, revitalization projects have been done before. They've been completed, some of them pretty close to home. Fresno, Exeter, Cincinnati, various cities throughout New York, and I know a large one was done in Staten Island specifically. One of the existing projects that had been done before was in Fresno, and to complete this, they broke it up into sections to make it a little more manageable. These included planning and design, investment and development, private sector, and foot traffic. These groups were created to take care of the designated issues. Some of the major issues I recognized in Taft were empty buildings, some vandalism. Now, for unsafety, it's not as unsafe as much as it could be, that it could be safer. Cleanliness, and that there is no central gathering place. These were pictures that I have taken. The first issue was with empty buildings. Alternatives to leaving these existing buildings empty. Well, I know that for Staten Island's project, they just completely leveled out the place in sections and started from ground up, and we really wouldn't need to do that because our buildings are in nice condition and they aren't an eyesore, some of them. Now, so we wouldn't have to rebuild, just utilize the existing spaces. I don't know if lower rents would need to be offered to bring people in, but they could be used not only for homes but for businesses. The second issue was with vandalism. Thankfully, this wasn't as much of a problem as I was expecting when I went out to take pictures of this. Now we would need to not only deal with the existing vandalism, but also keep it from happening again in the future. If this was a higher traffic area, more people would be around, and I believe that it would be less likely for crimes like this to be committed. If more people are watching, more storefronts can bring security cameras, possibly more officers, which is more evidence and help if a crime is committed. For the vandalism that is already existing, what can be done to hide the graffiti while also beautifying the area? In Staten Island, small town artists were hired. They were paid to create art in the forms of murals to cover up the graffiti and beautify the area. This also employed some of the local townsfolk. This picture is actually from Exeter, which isn't far from here at all. Their theme for their town was they have murals such as orange groves, cotton fields, and I know that in Taft we have that oil aspect that could always be incorporated. The third issue was with safety. This isn't, I know that can sound kind of alarming. I think one of the main things that I was thinking of while doing this was that it is kind of empty around this town, and if you're walking down the street, whether from your car to the store, the empty buildings themselves can send kind of an ominous environment, and you never know who's around corners, and these were some of the pictures I've taken for this. Now, to make the area feel a little safer, maybe we could create child-friendly and adult-friendly activities and areas, safe walking zones, safe driving and parking zones. All of these together could contribute to a healthy, cleaner, and safer environment, and also while making it a more attractive and safe area for a variety of people, both adults and children alike. The fourth issue was with cleanliness. To reduce trash and waste, trash cans could be put in, recycling bins. If store owners cleaned their own spaces in front of their stores, I know that if this was maybe a higher traffic area, they would feel a little more sense of pride because they know more people will be around. There are quite a few buildings that are covered, the windows with, I think, pieces of the Midway Driller, everything from that to other old newspapers just stacked all over the windows. For the initial cleanup, volunteers could always be asked for help. I know Taft High School has a group of seniors looking for community service hours twice a year, and they could always be utilized. The fifth and final issue, which was the biggest that stood out for me, was that there was no central gathering place. To see where I'm kind of coming from, I took into consideration Oil Dorado, where we had the pavilion. You knew if you were at the pavilion, that's where there would be vendors, people present, entertainment, compared to something like Taft Cruise Night, where if you did attend one of these, there wasn't really a central place to be. People were spread out all along Center Street, and it did make the environment much different. Now, to create a central gathering place, this would make the area, it would make it a more desirable space to be. Utilize the nearby stores and businesses, such as restaurants, coffee shops, bring in things people will want to gather for, whether that's entertainment, activities, art exhibits. Make sure there's adequate parking, of course, for the people who will be present. How can revitalization be done? Volunteers would be needed, of course, to do the initial work. Community members to donate time, resources, money. Money donations could be thought of from businesses. I don't know, we have petroleum industry, so nearby, people and businesses also would need to be brought in. There's no point in cleaning up these buildings, offering lower rent, if we don't have people who are interested in opening up shop here. And what will the revitalization do for Taft? It can create jobs, boost the small town's economy, and have, of course, a positive impact on the locals by creating a heart for their town, something to be proud of and a place to be. Are there any questions?
Well, I think your presentation probably creates more questions than we would have answers, obviously. You know, and everything you spoke to is something that we have looked at and have those same concerns. We have a huge amount of absentee landlords, and because of that, they live out of town. They don't care what their building looks like. And I can remember as a kid growing up, it was not uncommon to see a storefront owner every morning out there sweeping or hosing or cleaning up, because, as you said, they wanted to make people proud of their business. I had the opportunity to visit a place called High Point, North Carolina. High Point, North Carolina used to be the world leader in furniture production. And I thought this was really cool. When I got there, I stayed at a nice hotel, and the first day I was there, I got out because I wanted to walk. I wanted to see these furniture magnets, and every storefront was completely decorated with furniture, and I mean dressed out to the max, and every door I went up to, it was locked. And when I'd look through the window, that's all you had was a storefront. The buildings were empty.
Wow.
Because over the years they had moved their furniture production overseas, but at least they had the wherewithal to make sure that their storefronts, because it still advertised their furniture, but it was a wonderful walk, but there was no tourism, no traffic, no nothing there, but all these beautiful storefronts. And I feel that when somebody owns a building, that they should leave their storefront in a condition that would be attractive to others, instead of just walking away with the newspapers in the windows. So I don't know how we would ever address that through.
Well, we've tried to address that, and just recently we enacted some ordinances in regards to property owners using the buildings as storage sheds. And they have no intention of renting the buildings out or having a thriving business in there. They've gotten these buildings relatively cheap, and it's just a big box with maybe a restroom in the back, and that's it. And so they've used them as storage, and they basically, I don't know if we're taking them off the tax rolls or anyway, they were treated differently. So we're going back after them if they haven't done anything in 6 months, from a business license standpoint and that kind of stuff. We also let them slide on sewer and garbage fees, and now we're going back after them for that. If you're going to own a building right square in the middle of a retail zone in the middle of our community, let's do something with it. If you're not going to do something with it, rent it or sell it to somebody that will want to do something with it. But many of them Like Mayor said, that there are absentee landlords, and they've written these buildings off long ago, and I don't know if they're in, some estate, somewhere just sitting until the last member of that estate sells, dies, and then they'll sell the building or something. I don't know, that happens, but it's just generally, the economy has hurt us, and absentee landlords is probably the biggest issue we face. We just can't get them to respond and care about it as much about, obviously, as you do about Taft as we do. And there's so many things we can do. We can't go on people's property and clean it up for them,
Right.
Because that might be a weed that has some endangered species or something, if we go in there and chop the weeds down or paint over their building or something, as much as we'd like to. So it just takes a concerted effort, and while you're making this presentation, it just starts that ball rolling, and that's what we need. So I very much appreciate your presentation. Thank you.
Mr. Walter?
Thank you. Well, I thought it was very interesting, and I can understand about theft. One night while we closed, we were inside, and while we were inside, the van that we had out there and a truck, and then there was a secretary's car. Well, when they got ready to go, they called me back out there and bring a flashlight, and there was a big knife. There was a garden hose stuck in the filler neck of the truck, and on laying down was a filler deal for the gas can. So they scared him off. Her car was next. They did do the van and the truck, and anyway, we took care of that problem so far, and hope to catch them. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Cryer?
Thank you for being here, and I'd like to encourage you to participate in other meetings that we have, come to the council meetings and Chamber of Commerce and the business, Downtown Business Association, and participate in there, because that's one way we can learn from each other how to make our town a better city, live and play and be safe in it. So I appreciate you being here and with your ideas from your point of view, and that's really refreshing to hear from young folks to see what you're thinking. So thank you for being here, and
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
I might add too that it's nice to see a youthful person here that cares, and that's what we need, is more of the 20, 30, 40-year-olds in this community to take ownership of the community. A lot of us have been around a long time and care as much as we do. We're kind of running out of gas, and we need that energy. And, I've always said, don't just reside here, live here. And that's what we need, is people to come forward with some ideas, form their own committee, do whatever, ask help from the city of Taft, the chamber, and get things going. Because you had a couple of ideas in here, and fundraising is a hard thing to do. So that's a big issue, but all about revitalization is about money.
I understand
And how you can do it. And we can't just go tear down buildings, so that's a real big issue too. Again, thank you.
Thank you.
Hadley, I know you're a sophomore at Taft College. Are you a resident of Taft?
Yes, I am. My parents have lived here since, my father since the 80s. My mom, her family has lived in Cuyama Valley since way back. So I was born and raised here, and went to Taft City Schools since preschool, and currently still I'm at Taft College. So my whole life.
That's wonderful, and I only wanted to center on that because you're not an outsider coming in here telling us what to do. You're somebody who lives here and appreciates the small town.
Yes.
I get that from you, and I don't know, and your professor, I think, may have stumbled on something here. I think this could be a project for years to come for a classroom setting, to maybe go out and photograph, identify, and just from a younger perspective, what we could do downtown or in other areas of Taft to make it more attractive. Because somebody once told me our biggest export other than oil here is our young people. They leave town, they either go off to college or leave town for a bigger city environment. But what I'm seeing too is I'm seeing a lot of those young adults now coming back to Taft because they appreciate the quiet, the calm, the safety, and stuff like that. And so it is a huge burden on the young people to understand you're going to be taking this town over. And I would encourage you, as Mr. Miller said, start now. You know, if you're interested in this, and I'm assuming you're going to go on and further your education, but if you do choose to come back to town and can find a few of your cohorts that feel the same way, then I would strongly encourage you to get involved, and if there's anything we can do to bring you along, we would be happy to do that.
I might suggest that, throw in a few pictures of people who are doing it right up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you've taken some shots. People might get the misimpression that that whole downtown is crummy looking, because we've got some really nice shops uptown and people who are doing it right and who do care, and they're just as upset about, what you're seeing as you are. So they want to see something done too, and they're, within the economics of it, they're willing to help, so.
Yes, and you certainly feel for them as well.
Yes.
I know that at the last meeting, someone commented, it's kind of like having that neighbor that never mows their lawn.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It can put a damper on their day as well. So I understand that.
We can't pick our neighbors, but we can certainly pick how we choose to do it. And you hit the nail on the head. We have a lot of people that have taken pride in their buildings. They're doing a wonderful job uptown, but unfortunately, right next door, they have a building that is less than what we would expect it to be. They get frustrated, we're frustrated, because we sometimes can't even figure out who owns the building. But having said all that, this was great. You kind of revitalized our thoughts on this, and I think coming from a younger person's perspective, it's important that we kind of pay it forward too. So we appreciate your suggestions, we appreciate your time, and great job.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me here tonight.
Thank you, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. Is there anybody on it? Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, we'll move on to item number 2, which is citizens' request for public comments. This is the time and the place for the general public to address the city council on matters within its jurisdiction. State law prohibits the council from addressing any issue not previously included on the agenda, and the council may receive comment and set the matter for a subsequent meeting. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes. And I see the only person wishing to speak tonight, which is okay, is Dr. Kathy Oren with the Chamber of Commerce. Welcome back, Kathy, and congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Grandma.
No, Ron and I welcomed another granddaughter, Eliza Josephine Finn.
Wow, beautiful name.
And she was rather small for an Oren Finn. She was born 7 pounds and 2 ounces, which is almost miniature for us. So we're good hearty stock. So anyway, thank you very much. My first order of business today is to announce the winners of the postcard contest. You may recall that the Chamber and the Taft Camera Club joined forces to offer a chance to become world famous through postcards. And we had several categories. We had an amateur and a professional category and different age groups, and I am going to announce the winners. Now, these people don't know that they have been chosen until this very moment, so it's kind of exciting. We will be getting them ribbons and all kinds of good notoriety. But I want to acknowledge Tyrone Maddox, who is here with us in the audience, president of the Camera Club, Mimi Collins, who I think is secretary, and Esther Livingston, who is a member of the Camera Club. And these guys were great. When you go to the Camera Club, I am not a Camera Club person. All you would have to note is the quality of my photographs to know that. But these people flat know what they're looking at, and they chose to judge these photographs as you would be judged were you going to the Kern County Fair. So this is good stuff. So I will announce the winners, and I'm going to tell you what the next steps are. So in the oil and oil field equipment category, the amateur first place went to Angel Vossen, and the professional first place went to Karen Mitchell. And Karen also received Best in Show for this particular photograph. It is a pumping unit, and it is just gorgeous. So you'll be able to see these in the future displayed at the chamber. Under the category of scenery and nature, the amateur first place went to Esther Livingston. Congratulations, Esther. We had a tie for second place between Kristen Koch and Karen White. Third place went to Joel Souls, and honorable mention went to Joel Souls. For Taft Landmarks and Businesses, the amateur first place was a tie between Angel Vossen and Karen White. And in the professional category, first place went to Karen Mitchell, second place went to Karen Mitchell. In the Oil Dorado category, the amateur first place was Kristen Koch. So we had a great cross-section. I will say, I wish we had more participants. Doug?
I was just going to mention that, Dr. Orrin.
Yeah.
As many pictures as he takes on a daily basis, you didn't enter one of them?
No. No. I'm telling you.
Machine gun Keeler did not.
I know. There's no accounting for some things. But
Ooh, they didn't have that.
is that what it takes? Boy, that would be interesting,
That would
too,
be-
as a category.
That would be laughable and embarrassing.
But we will arrange a time that these photographs will be on display. What we discovered is that there are wonderful photographs of our town out there. Some of them are not going to make particularly exciting postcards, because as you travel through, this would not be a shot that you would pick as distinctly Taft. So we are going to be looking at our array. If you were not a winner in the postcard contest, in that you did not place, you may still be a winner in that your picture may become a postcard. So we found that we are going to have to readjust things, which happens when you have a brand new contest. So I want to thank the Taft Camera Club. You guys were very professional. They had charts and graphs of how this thing came out. So yes, Doug, that would have been an excellent entry. Yes, Doug, he's showing me stuff now. This is very irritating, Doug. You're like the kid that after the final proves that he really knew it all, but just didn't want to participate as a real student. Yeah. Okay. I want to thank you for your participation in our parade. We had a wonderful parade this year, and it has been a very quick, exciting Christmas season. I can't believe how fast the season is going. But tomorrow is our last chamber board meeting of the year. That also does not seem possible. February 6th, which is a Thursday night, will be the installation dinner for next year's chamber season, and I want everyone to put that on your calendar. It's always a wonderful evening. We do not have a place yet because we like to move that around a bit, but we know that it will be February 6th, and you're all invited, of course. I want to thank you for your support to the Chamber this year. We couldn't do what we do without your support, and we thank you for that. And I think that finishes me up.
All right.
Merry Christmas.
Same to you, Kathy. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll move on to the treasurer's report. Ben, I'm just going to announce that you're not going to approach the podium tonight because you're having a little hip issue, and we've got you mic'd, so we're allowing you to sit there and do your thing. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. This is a treasurer's report as of October 31st, 2013. Total operating cash and investments are $8,700,000, which is up $100,000 in the month. The general fund is down $100,000 at $900,000. Special revenue fund is up $36,000. It has $1,000 in it now. The sewer fund is $1,600,000, down $100,000. The refuse fund is $900,000, down $50,000. The federal wastewater treatment plant fund is up by $250,000 at $3,000,001. The community development agency is $200,000, up $110,000. And the wastewater treatment plant fund is $3,700,000, down $100,000. The CCF is in the hole $1,250,000, down $70,000. And the transit fund is minus $500,000, which is an increase of, on the plus side, of $25,000. And I'm going through the funds, kind of explaining what they are. The sewer fund is just what it says. It's funds set aside for the city's sewer system. And the refuse fund are funds set aside to pay for garbage and other refuse removal and processing.
Thank you, Ben, I appreciate it. And just to reiterate what you said, we actually have two sewer funds. One is strictly for the federal prison, which is a totally separate wastewater treatment plant. And then the sewer fund is for the community wastewater treatment plant. And even though they sound a little bit healthy when you're looking at $20+ million worth of upgrades that sewer system's going to need, $3 million doesn't even start the process. So we're hoping to get that taken care of too. So thank you, Ben, we appreciate it. Okay, we'll move on to item number 4, which is council statements. Mr. Waldrop.
I drive in this little stretch here of East Kern from in front of Las Salsas, then on down. And I noticed, I had somebody talk to me about, they drive real fast there, and it's not posted. Well, it is posted at the beginning and coming in, and at the beginning going the other way. I looked it over, and I always try to stay right at the speed limit going through there, and every time somebody goes by me, I mean faster than 35. I don't know what we can do there, but I just like to bring it up, that we need to watch what we're doing going down this street, because, I don't know, can we put down on the road, can we put a sign saying 25, you know, with the paint?
What location?
It's only 2 blocks though.
Right.
You know, like after you come in a little bit, like right out there by just past the park or whatever, and coming the other way, have another sign?
Is it posted 25?
It is posted at each end, coming this way.
25?
Yeah, it's 25.
Because it's residential, actually.
Well, that's true, I guess it is, even though it's, yeah.
But they, nobody abides by it, so I thought I'd bring that up and see if maybe we can look into it. That's the only comment I got. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Waldrop. Mr. Cryer.
Thank you, Mayor. It was brought to my attention Saturday from Doug Keeler from the Midway Driller. He went into my past a little bit. Just a little bit. And, yeah, I guess apparently Bakersfield Christian School here in Bakersfield has got a state championship this Friday. And they're playing my alma mater from Modesto, Central Catholic High School. I graduated from there in 1973, and it's a small school, but we had a pretty tough coach, and we always won. And we got a lot of championships. And so he brought to my attention, so we talked a little bit about my little bit of history and stuff, and our coach don't like us to lose. When we lose, he always mentions to us practice what losers do. And we always said, what do we do? You run. And you start at the goal line, you go to the 5-yard line 5 times, and back to the goal to the 10, 5 times, and all up to the 100, and then in reverse. And we learned not to lose no more. Especially when it came to, we always have a pregame dinner, and at a restaurant owned by one of our coaches, and we always had prime rib. And so what did we have for dinner? Well, we went to a hot dog, so we ate hot dogs. So we never lost that often. I couldn't find my old jersey or my game shirt, but I did bought this here out of history, but it's got a few mothholes in it that's sitting around. But I thought I'd share this, just give you an idea. The years I was there, how many times we got in our championship when I was there a short time, the 4 years I was there.
Wow.
But I might, we got 17 section titles.
Yeah, 17 South 14 championship.
And we have a ratio about, what, 79.1% winnings, 79, 89 or 79%?
I don't remember that.
We very rarely ever lose, but I know when I was there, I think we lost like 3 or 4 games out of about 43 when I was there, and it was fun. I played defensive end and linebacker when I was there, and it was fun, like anything in high school. And it's something you always, when you grow up, you always, people can't wait to get out of high school, but it seems like that's always the best time in your life when you're there. You learn a lot, and meet a lot of your life goal friends, and it's a great time. But there'll be more about said later this week, but Doug will probably share some secrets about me.
Councilman Orchel, if our supervisor listens to this and he's a Bakersfield and you're rooting for Modesto, I'm sure he's going to contact you and have a talk. David Couch.
We're going to go out there and watch the game. I'm going to try and go there and watch it. It's this Saturday at 4 o'clock in LA at Carson City. But yeah, it's nice to go back to your past a little bit, and I'm sure Doug will fill us in. Even on the contacting my old high school, trying to find some other secrets.
Some dirt.
Yeah. I was student body president of my high school, and I did a few things there that was good, and some things maybe you should be kind of be quiet about. But that's with everybody. And another thing too is Christmas coming up. I want to wish everybody a blessed, holy Christmas, and remember your neighbors and your friends, your families about Christmas and what it's meant to be. It's meant about your family, your church, and your fellow man. And we look at that, and also the Happy New Year's to everybody, because our next council meeting will be after the second, be later in the month in January. But have a safe January, and watch out for the other guy if you're driving and partying. Know how much you can drink, and be careful. And I want to thank everybody for this year, and your prayers and your thoughts and participation. And I wish everybody, and God bless you, and thank you for all your support and help for our city of Taft. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cryer. Mr. Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In regards to the Kern Street speed limit issue here, is what is happening is people coming east on Kern and then swinging onto East Kern, where it's 35. We actually go 45 down to 35, and then people don't realize, they just see a 4-lane road going down there in front of City Hall and figure it's still 35. Yeah. So I was interested. Mr. Waldrop said that he tries to keep the speed limit, so maybe if you try a little harder to go slower, maybe people will follow your example.
No, they won't. No, they won't. I done tried.
Some people do 60 down that road.
Mr. Cryer was talking about football. I remember when I played, I played my sophomore and junior year, we had a tough old coach, and if he didn't like what we were doing, we scrimmaged under the goalpost at halftime of a game. And we didn't get arrested or anything. We went down, run a bunch of plays, and then came back out for the game. So whatever, it's nice to see the excitement of those kind of games. We had the Army-Navy game this past weekend, a game that I look forward to every year. Too bad it was in snow, but Navy, of course, prevailed for the 12th time, and Army unceremoniously fired their coach because he can't beat Navy. So we'll see what happens next year. it's been a short Christmas season, like Dr. Warren said. It's kind of tough to get in the spirit. I've thrown up a bunch of lights on my house because I got a sale deal last year when the lights were all on sale, so I swore to myself I was going to put them out. But I wish my neighbors and wish the rest of the town would kind of get into the swing and put some lights up, even if it's just a strand on your eaves or something, but just kind of keeps the Christmas spirit going. And like we've all want, give our local merchants a shot at your Christmas dollars if you haven't spent all your money yet. They're there for you. They're there for this community. They're there for your kids when they come in asking for donations for whatever worthy cause. When you take those dollars out of town, none of those merchants spend any money on the west side. So, think about what you're doing. Give the merchants a chance at least. If you haven't been in some of the merchant stores, they've got quality stuff there, and they're still in business, so they must be doing something right. So give them a shot. I also want to wish everybody a most Merry Christmas, and we're ending on a good note, although we're a little apprehensive about opening the CCF with the state again, but we're going full out to get it open. We're looking for people to fulfill the positions out there, so if you've ever thought about a career in corrections, call out to, or call down here at City Hall and ask for our HR department and see what you have to do. Hopefully next year, Mr. Mayor, we'll get a motel going, we'll get the CCF all open, we'll get some things going, create some more jobs. We've got another new business going in and out at the industrial park, so that's good for Taft. I'm grateful, very grateful for good health and my family, and being able to have both my kids home. Even though my daughter's in the Air Force, she's able to come home, so we're grateful for that. So be safe. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. I just want to reiterate, great parade. Had a lot of fun, a lot of people downtown. Everything you gentlemen have said is certainly good to go with me. I think in the long run, I feel very fortunate that the city of Taft is kind of settled, and that we have people sitting at this dais that have nothing but the best interest of Taft at heart. I'm sorry Mr. Knorr is not here tonight. I know that he would certainly echo those thoughts, and that he would want to wish the community a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So I will take the liberty to do that for him. And from me, I appreciate everybody's support, and wish you also the happiest of New Year's and the merriest of Christmas. And I always say, remember the reason for the season. So thank you very much, and we'll move on to Planning Commission reports. Is there planning? Oh, Mr. Warren is here. The chairman of the Planning Commission is reporting tonight. Welcome tonight, Ron.
Well, thank you. I can read without my glasses. The Planning Commission met for a regular meeting on the 4th of December and discussed and approved conditional use permit number 2013-22. This is a proposal from property owner Glenn Black and applicant Dennis Schertz to operate a restaurant and bar with a type 41 ABC license, which is beer and wine, and within the existing approximately 2,500 square feet of building at the corner of North and 5th. Used to be Troy's Tavern. So that's underway. The address is 421 North Street. Their plans are in the process of being prepared, so we've got our work done, and then the city will do its work. We also discussed the Planning Commission 2014 meeting schedule, which was pointed out to us that we have a lot of conflicting holiday dates by operating on the first Wednesday. So our change is to put it to the third Wednesday for this coming year, so we don't have holiday conflicts. And two motions to continue. The first was the City of Taft Municipal Services Review Update, and the second was Director Mark Staples' continued work on the verbiage for continuity of the Taft zoning ordinances. Mark's found some things that are contradictory or incomplete. So he's cleaning that up for us, and we're acting on those as they come forward. So that's it for this time. Oh, and we will have a special meeting tomorrow night for a project at the Black Goat Industrial Park.
Good.
Any questions?
All positive.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Same to you, sir. All right. Are there any department reports tonight? Oh, God. Just bringing paper.
Homework.
Mayor Linder and council members. The last time I came up here on this side, I waved a whole bunch of paper in the air, and I did this and I did that, and I was terrified. My knees were shaking, you could hear them. But anyway, I'm not quite as nervous tonight. I'm still not a public speaker, but 2 weeks ago, Mayor Linder, you announced that I was retiring, and anyway, each of you said some very kind words, and you also said some very kind words at our employee dinner, and I wanted to personally thank each and every one of you for those nice words. I've loved working as a city clerk. I've enjoyed all the years that I've worked for the city, but the last 9 years especially, for you allowing me to sit in this position up here and being a part of the decision making. And anyway, I wanted to thank you for that. And I also want to thank you for the wonderful send-off that you gave me at the dinner and the nice gift. And to the public, I want to thank them for their votes of confidence for 3 elections. And I want you all to know that when the council makes a selection for the next city clerk, I have all the confidence in the world that they will make the right decision. And I hope that you will support them the way you've supported me. So anyway, I also have a couple of other people I wanted to thank, and that was Nellie Bazell for hiring me back in 1987. Susie Mears for pushing me to succeed, choose something and move on and do what, reach some goals. And then Norma Robinson for believing that I could be the city clerk. She did such a bang-up job, and for her to believe that I could really meant a lot. And then also to Pat Parsons, who taught me the everyday ins and outs of the city clerk's position. She never wanted it for herself, but she wanted to make sure that I succeeded. So anyway, thank you again. And this has been my home away from home for the last 26, almost 27 years. And I'm going to miss coming through that side door every morning, but I love all of you, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Louise. Very nice.
Thank you, Louise.
I love telling everybody that that Louise has been swearing at us for the last 12 years, and I'm not sure who's going to be swearing at us after your departure, but I hope they do it as nice as you did. Thank you, Louise. All right, we'll move on to city manager statements. Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to point out that staff here at City Hall is really busy, and a lot of people say government shuts down close to the holidays and they don't start back up until after New Year's. Well, I can say that our folks are going to be working probably through the holidays and through the New Year's. Yeah. And folks in Sacramento are obviously working because they're emailing me right now. CDCR is emailing me, and I just got an email from the Department of Fish and Game on the housing project. So folks in Sacramento are working too, so that's good. But just wanted to let everyone know that we are recruiting for a number of positions, and if anyone's interested in those positions, they can go online to our website and take a look at those, and we're going to be looking forward to putting 70-plus people back to work here in Taft. So
that's great.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Thank you.
We'll move on to city attorney statements, who I'm only talking now because he wouldn't let me talk yesterday.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have nothing this evening.
He's not so silent.
Not even going to wish us a Merry Christmas or something? Or?
I would like to wish the entire council
Thank you.
and all of the public a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate that. Item number 9 is future agenda requests. Gentlemen, do you have anything that you would like to see on the future agenda? Thank you. Therefore, we will move on to the consent calendar, items 10, 11, and 12. All items listed on the consent calendar shall be considered routine and will be enacted by one roll call vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the City Council requests specific items to be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. Any item removed from the consent calendar will be considered after the regular business items. And I don't know if there's anybody wishing to remove anything? No removals? Then I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes. Number 10, the minutes of December 3rd and 5th. Number 11, payment of bills. And number 12, authorize the mayor to sign a land lease agreement with Westside Economic Development, LLC.
The motion?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Cryer?
Yes.
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Councilmember Waldrop?
Yes.
Mayor Linder?
Yes, thank you. Item number 13 is to determine a method to fill the city clerk's position. Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. At the December 3rd, 2013 regular council meeting, Mayor Linder announced that City Clerk Louise Hudgens has decided to retire at the end of the year, leaving an unscheduled vacancy of the city clerk position that expires December 4th, 2016. Ms. Hudgens holds a dual position with the city as both city clerk and municipal records administrator. However, the appointment is for the city clerk position only. Pursuant to Government Code 36512B, if the vacancy occurs in an elected office, the council shall, within 60 days from the commencement of the vacancy, either fill the vacancy by appointment or call for a special election to fill the vacancy. Special election is called, it shall be held on the next regularly established election date, not less than 114 days of the call of the special election. A call was made to the Kern County Elections Office, and a special election could cost as much as $40,000. The council wishes to make an appointment, they can decide the method of choosing the replacement either by directing staff to solicit applications from interested and qualified residents or other methods as determined. The selected candidate must be a registered voter within the city of Taft and will complete the term ending in 2016.
20 when?
2016.
16.
You know, one of the concerns I had was that due to the filling of an unscheduled vacancy, we have the option to appoint or actually hold an election, and it's been estimated that the cost of an election for this position would be in excess of $40,000. I would strongly urge the council to not go that direction because I think it would be a waste of funds, city funds that could be used for other things. So my thought was that we would either solicit applications or letters of interest from the public, the voting public, registered voting public, or even...
Similar to the planning commission.
Yeah, to fill the vacancy, if that's appropriate, and we'll fly that one and see who applies and if we have a good qualified candidate. And that could even be somebody from on staff, for that matter, as long as they're a registered voter in the city limits. So that's just my take.
Well, there's a twofold part of the city clerk's job. One is city clerk, and the other is the records administrator. And currently it's held, Louise is holding both jobs.
And that job is being advertised, and in the advertisement, it's highly desirable that that person try to seek appointment from the council. So
okay.
If it happens that way, it'll be great. If it don't,
but they are totally separate. One is an elected position that could be held by an individual, and I equate it to our finance department, where we have a finance director, but Ben is an elected treasurer for the city. Can't have them doing the same job, obviously.
The clerk's position pays $300 a month.
Currently. So anyway, that's my suggestion. I don't know if you guys have anything else that you'd like to add to that, or any other ideas. We have 60 days to complete that after Louise's last day, or first day of retirement. So, your thoughts?
To be a city clerk, is all we have to do is appoint, and then you're automatically a city clerk, or is there I know Louise over some years have gone through some classes, and is there an education component to that, of being a city clerk, or is it just?
Not really.
Not really, okay.
It's always, we've been very fortunate because it's always been held by an individual at City Hall, such as Norma Robinson and then Louise Hudgens, that they do receive training in education, but it's an elected position.
And if you appoint someone, and when it, 2016, when the public finds out the type of commitment this person has to make for the small amount of money they make, they're generally run unopposed.
Absolutely. It's a huge responsibility. So, and I asked Louise to come to the podium because she's probably got some information about this.
The city clerk's position, the only criteria is that they're 18 years of age, a voting member within the city limits. That's the only criteria. To become a certified municipal clerk, which the majority of the city clerks throughout California are, some of them are elected, some of them are appointed, some of them are just part-time. You know, like you said, that anybody could come in and do just the clerk position. But to become certified, it's about a minimum 2-year process, because their certifications are sanctioned by the International Institute of Municipal Clerks. And they have the same criteria in Scotland or Africa or New Zealand as they have here in the United States. You have to become a member of the International Institute and be a member for 2 years before you can apply. In the meantime, it's a point system. So many points for education. You don't have to have a college degree. You get your points much faster if you do have a degree. But a degree in engineering is not going to get you any faster than, say, an engineer in English literature or something like that, because they look at your core subjects. And then they have institutes that you can go to for different training, for the Brown Act, the Fair Political Practices Commission.
Louise, is the difference between a certified city clerk and just a city clerk, what is there a difference other than it's a professional?
It's a professional,
advancement for yourself, I mean, self-fulfilling.
Right, self-fulfillment, but it also, you learn the ins and outs, and because there's a lot of liability associated with the city clerk's position.
Right.
Yeah, if somebody that's doing the day-to-day function, if something goes wrong, it's the city clerks that's going to get the finger pointed at her. So
it's highly recommended.
It's very highly recommended.
City clerk to go through that process.
Well, and this was one of the reasons we were concerned about this when we had placed on a general election ballot for the citizens to vote whether they wanted to maintain an elected city clerk or if it should become an appointed city clerk. And obviously the voters voted to keep it an elected position. My concern is what I think everybody else's concern is that because there's no requirements, as you said, other than to be 18 and to be a registered voter within the city, and I wouldn't want to discourage anybody, but the truth of the matter is they can't just walk in here. The whole city clerk genre has changed over the years, where it used to be somewhat ceremonial and maybe even required at one time, but now it's become a very integral part of what we do, and it can't be just a 1 hour or 2 hour meeting a month. So we may have to readdress and look at that again as far as how we handle that. But to me, it makes much more sense that we nurture an employee, such as yourself or whoever may follow in your tracks, just as you were nurtured to become a city clerk and take the reins, because it's much more than an hour here and an hour there. It's a full-time job now, and
it really is. It's very hard to. I know when we did the position classification study, when they asked me to segregate, what does the city clerk do, what does the records manager do, it's virtually impossible to segregate the duties. But yes, you could have someone on the ceremonial side of it that just comes to a meeting or two a month, and,
Signs.
you could. It's not unheard of.
Okay, well, thank you, Louise. Thank you for that educational moment. So, are you guys, gentlemen, are you okay with the fact that we will solicit for qualified candidates through, I guess, an ad in the paper? I think that's the cleanest way to do it.
I concur with your suggestion, Mr. Mayor.
All right, if that gives staff enough direction, gentlemen?
I concur.
You okay, Ron?
Okay.
And I guess we'll move that direction and see what kind of response we receive. Okay? Okay, and the last thing I have tonight before we adjourn to closed session is I needed to announce that the city council meeting for January the 7th has been officially canceled. Unfortunately, it's within the week of some holidays. There won't be time to prepare agendas adequately and that sort of thing, so we're going to give ourselves I guess a paid day off. I don't know. I'm going to use a little of my comp time. Yeah, there'll probably be a special meeting in between. So I'll use some of my comp time. So you guys are all furloughed, but I'm using comp time. So anyway, as of now, we will adjourn to closed session, and the items tonight are a conference with with labor negotiator Craig Jones, city manager, under Government Code Section 54957.6, all units. And item B is a conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9, for consultation with its attorney regarding existing litigation, City of Taft versus the CDCR. Thank you for being here tonight. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.